Hello everyone. Today we are going to code review of Android Context API. We are not going to discuss this API. We are more interested in the implementation of this API. And the benefit of this, there are multiple benefits. First, we will understand how Android platform implemented. Second, we will try to understand, we will learn some new techniques. Third, we will see our knowledge, like are we able to figure it out, like hey, okay, they are implementing this maybe observer pattern, or maybe the singleton pattern, or maybe decorator pattern. Or the other side, can we found, oh, they are doing something wrong, it's the interface segregation or something like that. Plus, once you face the bug, like for example, you are using some new API in Android and you face a crash, most of the time, or if we are not able to figure it out what's the issue, we go to on a Stack Overflow and we found, most of the time we found the answer there. But I will say, if you try to jump in to the API of the platform, that will be more good. I understand it will take more time, especially in start, but with the passage of time, you will start feeling, you start understanding, okay, this is activity, under the how it's working. I know, okay, activity thread, there is a one class who is responsible to start the activity, start the service. Like there are too many things. With the passage of time, once you will learn, you have more confidence and you will love more Android development. So we will do now the code review of this context, and we will see where we will go. So this is the context documentation, and basically what they are saying, context is an abstract class. It's pretty amazing for me when I saw first time some years ago. I'm using every day, okay, context, show dialog, context, start activity, blah blah blah. But when I have a curiosity and when I jump in, I found, oh, this is an abstract class. Okay, then how things are working under the hood, because we know we can't instantiate the object of a context, but we are using everywhere. And then I start learning a lot of new things, design patterns, many other points. We will discuss that. And it's extended from the object. It means it's the first class. It's not inherit from any other class. Non-direct subclasses, there are only two direct subclasses. One is context wrapper and a mock context, and we are mostly trying understanding context wrapper. And the indirect subclasses are, there are many, too many. And we can see, like, activity should be here, then there will be activity group I used to work with, but now it's deprecated. So we will see how the context API is working, and these are all the APIs. So in a code, we can search context .java, and it's showing from the API 32. Okay, so command F7. So it's pretty helpful to read all those methods. So this class has total how many lines? 6,929 lines of code. Yeah, a lot of lines are taken care by the documentation. But if we see, I don't think so documentation is a part of a liner 6338. Okay, so still uh, these are the APIs which are available. And if we see, I think all of them, or most of them are abstract. So package manager, resolver, main executor. Okay, in case of main executor, what they are saying, this is pretty inefficient, which is why context implementer overrides it. Now this is useful. So most of the time when we write code, we think, okay, we are not writing a good code, and that is not a production level, but because this is a MVP, so I need to land those changes. Now you can see in an Android platform, it's an Android OS used in a billions of devices. And as we jump in, we start first thing, and that is the amazing comment. So that will boost your confidence also what you are doing. Yeah, on a lot of places we need to learn, but on some places we can feel, okay, what we are doing sometimes it's okay, everyone's do, because it's pretty difficult to get a perfect solution. And also it depends in a scenario. So here, first positive sign, okay, this is pretty inefficient, which is why context implementer overrides it. Nice. Then what they are saying, okay, get optional package name not implemented must override in a subclass. It okay. Then what else? We can go. We can see anything else. So again, runtime exception not implemented must override. Start activity user start activities. Nice. So these are all the methods which are abstract, and some of them are not abstract, but they are asking to the class who is going to extend this context, hey, you need to implement, otherwise if someone will call this, we will throw the exception. Now this is something crazy. Like you can say, okay, why not directly make abstract void send broadcast multiple permissions? Why we need to do this? So that is a question for you. Need to figure it out why they are doing in this way. So in the end, all of the most of these methods, most probably if you are working with Android, you saw these methods, I'm sure. And if you are new, you will. So these are all the constants. What else? Package manager not implemented must override. So this is a one great API which we saw. Now we can move on to the next. So as we know, context is available in application, in activity, in service, in content provider, and also in broadcast receiver that we are getting as a parameter, but not as an extension. So we can move towards activity class. So we will see how the activity is using this context. So because this is an abstract class, my expectation is activity should override, should extend from this. Okay, so activity, is there any context? So how they are using context? Nice. So there is also, we found get application has a some field, m application. Is there any context field? So we can see if we found any context field. It look like no. M component, main thread, M call, resume, M context. No, because it's an extension. And if we go again back to this class, so it's saying, okay, we are extending from the context theme wrapper. What is context theme wrapper? So context theme wrapper is modify replace the theme of the wrap context. So as we know, activity is used as a UI, but the service and the application, they are not the UI. So that's why what I found, this is specifically used by the activity, which is context theme wrapper, and I think they are doing some work around to update the UI of the activity, the borders and themes. And in the end, context wrapper, this is the class which is used by everyone, but now we will see how it's working. So when I saw first time this class, I'm amazed because I learned at that time decorator pattern, and you know the main, how you figure it out, there is any decorator pattern implemented. Yeah, the APIs also tell you, okay, the name will be decorator inside of somewhere. But one thing which I found, so any class which is extends by an interface or maybe abstract class, and also that is used as a composed composition, not composed composition, that is a decoration pattern. We will discuss this later in another video. So but they are saying, okay, we are saying using this as a proxy implementation of a context. Just like we saw, context is the abstract class, everyone needs to implement, and they are saying, okay, after context there is a one more layer which is a context wrapper. And how this works, so in this case, anyone who is going to use context, want to use context, they need to call this method, because this is a constructor, but what I found, this is null. So in case of an application service, and there is no activity, because activity is mainly using the activity context wrapper, but activity also getting this context, we will see that. So in this case you can see it's null. Maybe I can show you going inside of this. So it's null. In this case, it means if it's null, then how we are getting the application context. And what I found, this method is an important method. We need to, like not we, but OS or a kernel level, these APIs need to call this method. If they are not going to call, there will be a crash because mbase will be equal to null. Or if for example I have this main activity, so we know we already have all the application context level methods, but what I found, if I try to do this, so I'm trying to override, this will crash because when activity starts it call this method, and we will see where they are calling, and then we have this. So again, coming back, so context is an abstract class. Context wrapper is the middle layer which is helping to the OS or the platform API developers to play with this context easily. There are no constraints from the inheritance perspective, otherwise there will be too many issues, and they can change at any time at a runtime what is the base, what is the main context. Like for example, in case of an application, they are injecting a different context. Like you guys, if you ever face an issue, if you try to show your dialogue but give the context, application context, not the activity context, that will crash. And now you can jump in and you figure it out why it's crashing from the application perspective, but why not on an activity, because both are context. Under the hood, both are using the same abstract class. So attach base context, this is, then after that all of methods are delegated to this context or a proxy implementation or a, and you can see all those methods are implemented here which we saw, and all of them are only calling delegating. Okay, start activity. Now we can check how we are getting this information. So first we can go inside of a maybe application or activity. Okay, we can take any one of them. So first, applications. So first, when application starts, this constructor will run, this super will run. This what this super is, this super is a context wrapper. Okay, so it means my application class is extended from the context wrapper, but once we are initializing, I'm sending null. So at this point it's still null, there is no context. Okay, then from where we are getting this context? So there should be method somewhere, attach base context. So in this case, once, so how Android APK works, once the APK installed in a OS, you click on a button, there is a manifest file, APK is loaded, and I'm loaded APK is context. Okay, so basically first it's saying attach context, we need to find who is using this attach. Okay, and then they are calling attach base context. So under the hood, what happened, once the APK is loaded in an OS and application class is ready to run, before instantiating, in between OS trying to instantiate, this attach method is called somewhere. I don't know where it's called. So what we can do, we can copy this method name, we can go into the platform repository. So this is the Android platform repository, and I can say attach, and I need to found, this should be with the application. I hope we will found this. So in this case, it's saying this one is a application context. We have this, so it's calling the same. Basically, both codes are same. Now I can click this, and we can see on how many places this one is called. So this is the method name, and who is calling this? This is the annotation only. Okay, so this is called on 2 places, and the class name is instrumentation. So what we can do, we can try to found this class instrumentation. Hopefully that will be available. So instrumentation dot java. Okay, so it's not coming here, maybe it's not downloaded, but we can, okay, we can open this then here, and then we can check. Instrumentation class, sorry. So in this class attach method, so app.attach, so once perform instantiation of the process, so once APK is going to load in a memory, a process instantiation of the process is going to be created. The default implementation provides the normal system behavior, and then context is also initialized. So at this point our application class is here. There will be a factory pattern. Okay, so there is a design pattern which is used by this class. We can try to check where is this. So they implemented a factory method, and what they are doing, they are returning default. Maybe we can go in more detail later. So coming back to this, and then after that they are calling app dot attach context. So that application object, they got this object and they are calling app dot attach. So in this case what they are saying, okay, app dot attach, because this is an application class, and once this is called, attach base context is going to be called, and then this context is going to be set. So now we have an application context, and then after that we can check how we are getting this in case of an activity. So application, I hope you understand. In case of an activity, again there is a method attach. So this one. So once activity is ready, once in our code we call start activity. When start activity start running, it initialize the activity object, and then this dot attach method is called, which is getting this context, and then we are setting this context for the activity. Now we can found who is calling this method. So I already reviewed this code and I found there is a one class activity thread dot java. This class is responsible for this activity dot attach. So basically what happened, when you start the activity, under the hood there is an activity thread. You can read about this class. This one is very I really enjoyed when I read, and what I understand, it's kind of a service, and this one is at a kernel level, and this one is responsible to start an activity, and also I think so for services also. So once we call that somewhere, this you can dig deep more who is calling this, but from here I'm expecting somewhere inside someone called this perform launch activity, and here you can read, and you will enjoy a lot. Like, okay, this information you are aware of this, how it's coming, context, components, everything is here. Then they load, if they are going inside of these, they are loading, they are using some reflections, okay, instrumentation activity, blah blah blah. At this point they are also trying to get the application, and they are saying, okay, package name dot make application. So here you can see, that's why I understand, okay, this is kind of a global kernel level class, because at this point they are making the application reference against your package name. So my package name is dot something something, it will have a dot something something, and then it will attach that application from the process to my application app. Then going inside of this, here we are getting this app context. So basically this is the context which I will get in attach here, and then I will throw to mbase activity our context wrapper, and this context wrapper will be set from here. And going back again, we can check who is giving this app context. So how we found this app context? Okay, so this app context is created again in the same activity thread, create base context for activity. This is the method going inside. So what this method is doing under the hood, this is calling context implementer, who is responsible to create a context for this activity. So if we go inside of this, okay, this class is method name. Where is this class? So we can check. So this is the method. Nice. So in this case, again, all those check information is here, and it's trying to create the context. This is a context, and then they will return in the end. And what is this context implementer? Okay, so this information is coming from, this is a lot of information, but you can read and you will enjoy. So going back to the okay, here to go into this method, then from here everything is going settle down. So once we have a context, after that what they are doing, okay, context type activity, we will try to figure it out if we know any API which is they are going to set. So it's kind of a setters. And we are aware of resource manager, yes, so they are initializing this, not initializing, it look like a singleton pattern, we can check, and that is singleton pattern, and this will be run only once. Now the question is it it's a process level or it's a kernel level? And resource manager, there is no documentation, but we can read and we can find, or maybe in another video we will discuss this resource manager. So we found this is our third design pattern which we found in a code review. So it's a singleton, and once we have this singleton, context is going to be update. Okay, now in this case what they're saying, okay, resource manager, create token resource manager, split directories, display id, component info, display. So in this case, once we are in an activity and I say resource manager, and how to found context, get is there, what is the name, okay, resources, and so what is this class, resource, get resources internal, and then we are getting here, this is for the resource manager. So resource manager is giving us that information. Then about the package info, so we can get also package manager. So this one from where we are coming, yeah, you can see it's implemented in the context wrapper, and context wrapper is using proxy implementation or decorator pattern, which is saying, okay, m base get package manager. So this m base, in case of an activity, this m base is coming from the activity thread class. In case of an application, things will be different because we are getting a different context. Anything else? Then we can read some more methods, maybe last method on low memory. So I'm not sure we can found who is calling this, but we can try. So I'm going to try when on low memory will be called and who is calling this method. So first they are saying, okay, this is a component callback. So who is implementing activities, implementing application, is implementing content provider. In case of an activity on low manager, but my question is who invoked this? So component callback to, on how many places this one is used, configuration controller, we can read this, what is configuration controller, and configuration controller callbacks, perform configuration changed. Is there any low memory method? No. So once the configuration is changed, first we will see what is this class. Okay, there is no information. A client side controller to handle process level configuration changes. Configuration changes. Then how? Okay, there are two methods. This is called when the overall system is running low on memory and actively running process should trim their memory. Preferably you should implement on trim memory, but please help me to figure it out who is calling this method. Okay, we can go on here, we can check if we can found something here. So there is a one class, it's saying pressure, memory pressure monitor, and then we have a callback. So here we are registering this, register component callbacks, on trim memory is called, and so it now there is an observer pattern, because you can see this is a register. Maybe I can try to open this class, memory pressure monitor. Not available. Okay, no problem. So there is a I'm sure this is an observer pattern, because we have context utils, get application context, register component callback. So it means get application context. uh, get application context means the context in an activity. So where is the context? mm, is there any? Oh yes, so there is the method. So anyone who is interested, they will register this method, and then under the hood this one is going to register the control callback controller. And still on low memory, who is calling this? We are still struggling. This one is a permission data repository names window manager. On low memory, memory manager, maybe this one is a class who is going to call this. Keeps track of memory used by the app and inform module and service if memory gets low. Oh, okay, so basically we found. So memory manager is a interface. So now we need to find who is using this. So first we can check if we can see here memory manager, is it available? Memory manager dot java. No. Okay, no problem. So I can make this to readable. And who is using this memory manager? So there is a memory manager implementer. And what is this class? Is it available? I can see inside, please. Oh yes, we can. So this one is memory manager implement. No, this one is sun.management. No, it's not the Android one. Okay, so I can try to open this, and we can read this. So memory manager, activity manager, monitor, memory, then add listener. Someone is adding a listener. I'm interested. Okay, so low memory, once this is called, they are calling this on low memory. Notify in case of a trim memory, they are calling this. So this is the class who is taking care of that information. But now the next question is, who is calling this method? So we can check, instead we can check memory manager implementer dot on low memory. So this one is inside, this one is camera. How to find this on low memory? Who is calling this? So we need to find package. This is in camera 2. Okay, what is in camera? Memory manager implementer. Once this is going to be implement, who is using this method, this class? Why it's not showing? So I'm going to search memory manager IMPL, and memory manager IMPL, there are method, and then camera service. Okay, in this case this is the class. In this case this is a private method which is used inside of a camera API. Yep, and camera API is going to create this memory manager. And on low memory, now this one is in a, again same, but it's a camera API. So I think we already spent enough time, and we try to understand. Next time we will try to jump into the fragment API or any other API, and we will do the code review together. I hope you enjoyed. See you in the next video. Bye.